Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your
hosts,
Mike.
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic.
So,
Buttons.
we've talked about this before.
Have we?
Yes.
What have we talked about before? People of Costco?
Idiot drivers here in Las Vegas.
Oh, they're totally worse than the people of Costco.
They're so bad they can't drive.
Mm-mm. I don't know what happened to conglomerate all of the awful drivers here in the city of Las Vegas. We were stopped at a red light in the turn lane the other day, and this car that was behind us got all super impatient, roared around us, and turned on the red turn light
Yeah.
from a non-turn lane.
And then a day or two later, we were heading out to Summerlin for something, probably the sauna
or baseball.
or baseball. And this car was in front of us at the off ramp to the highway. And it was red for us. And they just all of a sudden just decided to go while it was red for us.
That was on the way to the sauna. And that was the same trip as the guy who decided to go around us in the light.
It's just, and it's insane. And then you wonder, like, what happens if they meet the wrong person, right? Like road rage.
Right.
Because that used to be such a big deal back in California.
Was it?
It's huge. You always would hear about, drivers having it out, stupid crap like that, or the police were looking for the driver of a blah, blah, blah car because he threatened the other driver. You'd hear all this crazy stuff. Here, though, just couple days ago?
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
We were on our way home from Bungalow.
So it would have to been, yesterday. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. That's how
This week has been
freaking weird
ridiculous.
this has been as far as
2 holiday days in 1 week is too much, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
Anyway, we were on our way home from Bungalow.
And I said, you know what? I really could use another coffee. Could we go to see if the new McDonald's is open? And there's a McDonald's like right on the main street.
Yeah.
Less, hardly any distance from where we live.
Brand spanking new.
And so anyway, we're heading there. And as we're getting closer, this one points and says, look at the flashing lights. And I
Because
look
there
over
was like 15
and there's like
cop
all
cars.
these cop cars there. And I see like this like bluish, silver blue, like vehicle. Couldn't tell if it was an SUV or a minivan.
Honestly,
but it's
it
like
looked like
there
a Rogue.
with like the trunk, latch hit up.
And all the doors open.
All the doors are open. And you're like, what in the hell happened here? And come to find out that on one of the main intersections near there, they got into a road rage incident with someone else. And that someone else pulled out a gun, shot the guy and his 6-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Shot them both. They're okay.
We're going to say
thankfully.
they have non-life-threatening injuries. Thankfully.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're okay. But what a dirtbag thing to do. I can't believe how low you have to go.
When you said you wondered what the dude who got shot had done to be annoying and caused a problem, and I wondered that myself, but I don't feel like there is anything that a vehicle could do to you that should have you pull out a gun and shoot at a 6-year-old girl.
Or anybody for that matter. It's I wasn't referring to the use of the weapon as being justified if necessary. I was basically saying how that isn't ever justified and that you need to like realize.
Well, I'm going to say I agree with you, but I mean, it's just so terrible that a 6-year-old girl had to go through all of this.
Yeah, and
Because
now
somebody
she's
couldn't
never
control
going to
their
forget,
shit.
and she'll never forget it.
Right.
Ever. It's in her head now.
Right.
And that's a horrible thing for a kid to have to live with.
Right.
And all because who cares what happened? I can't, for one thing, you were going there and you're right. No amount of words from the other guy could warrant this.
Right. There's just nothing. Like, there's nothing that they could have done that made this the thing you should have done with your life.
Right.
So, dear whatever your name is, dude, you're a huge piece of shit.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable that you can see a little child. And there's a child because at that age, depending on how big she is, and she didn't seem like she was that big, she would be still in a car seat, actually.
I said booster seat.
Well, it's still,
Yeah.
you'd see it.
Right.
Because it's got the big handles and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have to know that's a kid. So what the hell are you doing?
Yep.
Even I was even sitting here thinking in my head as you were talking, he could have the other guy with the kid in the car could have pulled a gun out and fired at them. And they should think 79 times before they fire at that car.
Let's hope they spend some hot minutes in jail thinking about what they've done to ruin their life.
And that's the thing we were talking about it the other day, right? That I personally don't grasp how someone can knowingly, off another person.
Right.
I just don't understand it. It doesn't compute for me. And by the same token, I can't imagine, unless I was defending myself or my family, I can't imagine using a gun to shoot somebody.
I can't either. I think it'd be pretty freaking traumatizing.
To me, the gun should be a deterrent. I pull it out and bad guy runs and doesn't bother me ever again. That's the deterrent. And that's the worst case scenario. I never wanted to go there.
Right.
But that would be the outcome of the worst case scenario for me should be he leaves and doesn't ever come back because he knows I'm armed.
Right.
And he don't want to mess with that.
Right.
I think that's fair enough. That's a hands off, everybody. Let me have my thing my way.
If there was an intruder coming into my house and I owned a gun and I shot them, I would be the one needing therapy for the rest of time. I would be so traumatized.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see why. I'm not certain that I wouldn't myself.
Right.
I think I would. But, I mean, I'd have to be faced with that happening. I would be faced with having that happen. Ugh, that's quite the sentence, guys. I would have to be faced with that for me to know how I would react to that.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I feel like if said intruder was attacking like Yoki, that I probably would have a lot less regret.
Well, and that's what I was talking about. When you're defending you, me, our family, anyone in our family, when you're defending those people and animals, because they're included in the family, then of course you're not going to have regrets. You're defending your family. I would hope you don't have regrets. So what do you think about the crazy drivers here?
That they're crazy? Like I said.
But like,
they don't stop at red lights. They turn from whatever lane they feel like turning from. They tailgate the shit out of you. They go miles and miles an hour over the speed limit, or they go miles and miles an hour under. The speed limit. Mm-hmm. They go into other lanes when there's not enough room for them. I can't, like, I've been doing all the driving the last few days.
Yeah.
And I've had like 7 tiny panic attacks because somebody very close in front of us has like swooped in front of another vehicle, leaving like millimeters of distance between each of them. And I'm like, well, we're about to hit this accident that douche hat's about to cause, because I could hit the brakes right now and I wouldn't be able to stop in time.
Yeah.
Like, just madness.
I mean, and that's the problem right there. If they were only risking their own life, let them do what they want. Who cares?
Well,
But they're not. They're risking the other people that they're getting into an accident with and you.
You fell asleep on the way to bungalow. This like little
Mhm.
blue SUV got stuck in that weird Charleston spot. You know, where you think you have to move over, but really you shouldn't move over because
Right.
that lane ends.
Right.
Anyway, they got stuck. The Charleston spot got them, and they got so frustrated they just like cut right back over.
I don't know what you can do about stuff like that. I mean, I feel like the police aren't entirely wrong that if they enforced every single infraction that that's all they would do. But I also think that perhaps somebody should each year or every 6 months or something assess and rank from most offensive to, not as offensive, I guess, as you know what I'm talking about, the direction to go, and give like the top 10 things that police officers should be enforcing no matter what. And then when they see those 10 things, they enforce it. And the other things, it's selective depending on the situation.
Well, I think the first thing they should do is close the loopholes in the laws that let people go to court and weasel their way directly out of the tickets they get for these kind of things.
Yes.
Because if you're dangerously driving or you're speeding, you should have to pay the citation for it. Fuck you and your loophole. So that's the first thing I think they need to do.
I would agree.
Then the second thing I think they need to do is exactly what you just said. Pick the 5 things they're going to enforce. Speeding over 10 miles an hour, whatever. Pick your 5 things and start enforcing them. And if they've closed the loopholes before this, that should start to generate enough income that they can bring more people in to start enforcing the other thing.
Yeah, and they can expand how many things they enforce.
Right.
Until they get to the point where they are enforcing all of the traffic laws,
And
which would be
then they won't need as many police again.
Which would be the ideal situation.
People will stop doing the terrifying things for fear of getting caught.
Right. It's always a temporary flex that you have to do. It's always a temporary
It's almost
flex.
like they need to hire a contract police force to do it for a year.
Yeah. Scary thing is those things exist.
I know.
I mean, I have my pros and my cons against private police forces, but the cons at the moment kind of outweigh the pros.
To enforce something like traffic violations, it seems
that would be fair. Yeah, that'd be all
I
they'd
don't
be allowed to
think
enforce.
they should be searching anybody's car for marijuana, anything like that.
Right, because that's exactly what the private companies would do.
Pull somebody over because they were going 10 over the speed limit, write them a ticket, let them be on their way. If you think they're impaired, call the normal police to come and deal with that part.
Yeah.
Right.
The ones who are trained to determine if they're impaired or not. And then just to close out, since we somehow ended up to where we ended up, and I think that's rad. Love that word, by the way.
I swiped.
And its friend Dar.
I've been using Bumble Friends again because every 3 months I get the hankering to maybe try to make friends.
Okay.
And I swiped the happy direction on somebody just because they used rat in their profile.
But now you made me forget what I was going to tell you.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's on me. I'm the dum-dum that can't remember from one second to the next. What was I going to tell you? That's interesting. Yep, it's gone. Poof. Insert bomb explosion here. Yep, it's gone.
Mike's got nuts, people. His brain just exploded. Now there's a mess to clean up.
Sorry about that.
God. Well, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.